So, what happens when a brand new technology, one that's literally designed to operate without rules, slams head on into a legal system that's been built on centuries of them? Well, today we're diving right into that chaos, into the legal maze of cryptocurrency. This is where courtrooms are having to figure out if a simple line of code can actually be considered stolen property. And believe me, it's a clash that is shaking up the very idea of what it means to own something. And you might be surprised where our story kicks off. It's not with some tech genius in a hoodie or a shadowy hacker. Nope. It starts with lawyers. And not just any lawyers, a major commercial law firm in the UK that made a move so bold it sent shockwaves through the entire legal and financial world. I mean, just look at the confidence in that statement. You have to remember, the legal profession is built on tradition, on stability, on doing things the way they've always been done. So for a major firm like Gunnar Cook to come out and say this, well, it was a really big deal. They weren't just testing the waters. They were planting a flag, declaring themselves pioneers in this crazy, legally gray new world. And this was the move that did it. They started accepting payments in things like Bitcoin. Now, this wasn't some tiny startup trying to make a splash. This was a serious player in the UK legal scene. And that one decision basically forced the entire legal system to finally face a question it had been trying to ignore for years. What, legally speaking, is cryptocurrency anyway? Okay, so to really get why this is such a legal headache, we need to pop the hood real quick and look at the tech itself. So let's do a super fast breakdown of the two key ideas that make this whole thing work and, more importantly, make it so tough for the law to handle. First up, you've got cryptocurrency. Let's just forget all the jargon. At its heart, it's just digital money. The magic ingredient is cryptography. That's the super complex encoding that makes it incredibly secure. It's actually way, way harder to counterfeit than the cash you have in your wallet. And the engine that makes crypto run, that's the blockchain. The easiest way to think of it is like a public digital receipt book. But here's the twist. That book is copied and shared across thousands of computers all over the world. Every transaction is a new block added to the chain, and once it's on there, it's pretty much permanent and transparent for everyone to see. That whole decentralized thing is what makes it so revolutionary, and you guessed it, so legally tricky. So we've got this super secure, decentralized digital money. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, for the legal world, that very design is a massive problem. It's kind of like trying to apply 20th century traffic laws to flying cars. The old rulebook just doesn't work. And for a long time, it really was the digital Wild West. I mean, think about it. There was no central bank, no safety net, nothing. An asset's value was based purely on hype and demand. Literally anyone could create a new coin, which led to thousands of them popping up. And a whole lot of them were either worthless jokes or straight-up scams. And the craziest part? There was no specific UK law to govern any of it. You'd think the official body that regulates lawyers, the SRA, would have something to say, right? Nope. They had no formal rules, no official position at all. It was a total regulatory vacuum. Everybody from big investors all the way to law firms was basically just guessing the rules of the game as they went along. So, when the lawmakers stay silent, who ends up making the rules? The courts do. And it took one pretty dramatic case, a case involving cyber extortion, to finally force a judge's hand and set a legal precedent that would change absolutely everything. And seriously, this whole thing played out like a high-tech thriller. A company gets hacked, their data is locked up and held hostage. The ransom demand? You got it, Bitcoin. The company's insurance pays it, but then they hire investigators who manage to track most of that Bitcoin to one specific digital wallet. So what do? They go straight to court and ask a judge for an order to freeze those digital assets. And this put the court in a tough spot. It forced them to answer that huge, fundamental question. Can you legally freeze something that doesn't physically exist? Is Bitcoin property in the eyes of the law? Well, the High Court's answer was a loud, clear, and resounding yes. And just like that, for the very first time, English law said definitively that cryptocurrency is property. Now, this decision didn't just appear out of thin air. It was actually based on some really forward-thinking advice from the UK's jurisdictional task force just a year before. They had argued that for the law to even function in the 21st century, it was absolutely essential to start treating these new digital assets just like any other form of property. And the court completely agreed. So great, one huge legal question was finally answered. But here's the thing, defining crypto as property was really just the first step. In fact, it kind of blew the doors wide open to a bunch of other massive, unregulated dangers that the system is still trying to get a handle on today. And that one ruling really put a spotlight on three huge unsolved problems. First, the market is an absolute breeding ground for scams. Second, its value can skyrocket one day and completely vanish the next. And third, the whole thing can be manipulated by just one powerful person. Let's start with scams. A classic one is the pump and dump. It's simple. A group of fraudsters hypes up some worthless coin, they create a frenzy, the price shoots up, and then they sell everything they have, crashing the price and leaving everyone else holding a worthless digital token. In the traditional stock market, that kind of thing gets you serious jail time. In the crypto market, for a long time, it was just another Tuesday. Next up, let's talk about volatility. To give you a real sense of just how wild these price swings can be, just look at this number. On May 7th, 2021, the price of one single Bitcoin hit a peak of about 42,000 pounds. That is an absolutely mind-boggling amount of money for a single digital coin. But just 2 weeks after hitting that incredible high, the price fell off a cliff. And we're not talking about a small dip here. We're talking about a massive freefall that wiped out billions and billions of dollars in value almost overnight. That level of pure instability makes it an incredibly risky place to put your money. And finally, we have manipulation. This market is so sensitive, so reactive, that a single tweet from someone like Elon Musk can send prices either soaring through the roof or crashing into the floor. Remember when he said Tesla would accept Bitcoin? The price shot up. When he changed his mind a little while later, it cratered. That is a terrifying amount of power in the hands of a very, very small number of people. And all of this leaves regulators with a massive, almost impossible dilemma. How do you do it? How do you protect people and markets from being manipulated? Because in a world where one person's tweet can move billions of dollars, that protection starts to look an awful lot like policing free speech. And that, right there, is the huge challenge for the future, figuring out where to draw that new line between influence and illegal manipulation in our digital world.